Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's live stream. I'm going to be just in live markets, kind of a little look at some opportunities around and about. And take a look at some of the data that we've got coming up. There's not really been much in the way of data that's come out already. Had some CPI data out of Switzerland, some CPI data out of Tokyo, and retail sales out of Australia. But other than that, we haven't really had too much. The data kicks off towards the middle and end of the week, where we've got our CPI, some China data as well as some US dollar data, and a Bank of England announcement as well. So the news doesn't really kick off, and the volatility will probably kick off more towards the end of this week. So, hi, Ruston. Hope you're doing well. Hi, Fran. Hope you're doing well too. Yeah. Let me know, guys, what you guys are looking at as well at the moment in terms of strength and weakness at this moment in time. I'm looking more towards the yen weakness that we've seen in the markets. I like the idea of potentially looking at that yen continuation against the US dollar. If I just bring in the update page, and we can go up to the currency strength meter. We can see here that we've had obviously a dip in that yen. That white line is the yen. The yen has come down quite aggressively. Dollar starting to pick up a little bit. Euro still pushing to the downside. So in a video yesterday, I was talking about the potential for a euro pound move, and that's just kind of building at the moment. So I will go over euro pound at some point. Pound is the orange line. It's only just started to creep back to the upside. I like pound a little bit more from a fundamental point of view. Pound is something that I'm interested in. Swiss franc has been the strongest currency at the moment. So the Swiss franc is kind of on the strong side of the table. So if we were doing like a strong week, we've got the Swiss franc on the strong side, looking at the potential for the dollar to become stronger. And then we've got on the weak side of things, we've got the Japanese yen and the euro. So looking at those markets there, like euro Swiss downside potential, and I also like euro dollar downside potential, as well as euro pound. But euro pound's a little bit of an outlier in terms of the currency strength meter. It's just something that I like from a, like I said, a fundamental picture. And yeah, we've got the Japanese yen weakening as well. So potentially dollar yen longs and Swiss yen longs as well. It's something that the currency strength meter is kind of pointing us towards at that current moment in time. So we're going to keep an eye on those currency pairs in this session. Obviously, if there's any kind of markets that you want to take a look at as well, please let me know. Ifran, I am in a US dollar Swiss short trade from yesterday. Was 40 pips up yesterday, now it's hovering at my break even. Yeah, a lot of my trades have done this the past couple of days, to be honest. Euro pound, I was up nearly 1%, and then it's come pretty much all the way back to break even. Also, like CAD yen and euro yen shorts, if they both get up a bit. Yeah, I quite like euro pound. So let's go take a look at that market first. I'll just pop this back over here. Euro pound, an interesting market. Like I said, I like euro weakness at the moment, so I'm looking to see if that will continue. Pound's obviously getting a little bit weaker at the moment, so that's the situation there. I'm in short at this level here, that 86.19, looking for a continuation to the downside. So when I said I'm back at break even, I'm not back at break even really. Price had moved a decent way. We're back sort of 50% of that move at the moment, but I don't mind the price action that's going on here on euro pound at the moment. This is a 1 hour time frame. For anybody wondering, this is a 1 hour time frame, and we can see that we obviously had this kind of rounding off of price. Price was kind of slowing down into the key sort of daily resistance level, back up at this sort of zero spot, 87 handle. We've then breached through these lows in here, and the market has continued to sort of drive lower. So we're kind of making those lower lows and lower highs at the moment. My theory basically yesterday was more developed from the weekly and the 4-hour time frame. So if we have a little look at the weekly chart here, we can see that we've obviously had a strong rejection of the daily resistance zone at that 8700. We've had a very strong bearish week last week as well. So I'm looking to see, will that momentum continue into this week? And will that drive price into these key swing lows in here, which is around about that 0.8550 handle? So I'm looking, can we get a little bit of an opportunity to see price move lower? And that brought me down to the 4-hour time frame. And in the video, if you have managed to watch it, you'll notice I talk about the lower highs and lower lows, and then that the market was coming into a level of resistance around about that 8620 level, which is where I eventually took a short position into the market. So looking for the continuation here. What I quite like about this at the moment is if we take a look at the sort of the pullback that's coming into the market. So you can see here, very low ranging candlesticks, big push, getting very low ranging candlesticks again. Will that see a big push as well? We may come and revisit these highs. Okay, this is the sort of highs that the market has recently found resistance at, and we may come and revisit that. If it does, and then it gives another option to get short, then there could be an opportunity, depending on how confident you are in the move, to be able to add into the position, or to sort of look at the position as a whole. I think if we break through this area here, close above, then the move back up to sort of where stops are at the moment for me is going to be something that's under a bit of threat there. So I would consider, if we got a close back within this area here, I would be very much considering closing out for a small loss, and then I'll look to see if it kind of features again in terms of, do I get another reaction? If we, let's say price comes above here, closes above, close for a small loss, but then if it comes back underneath, then I can look to get short again. I'd rather get myself out for a small loss and then try and see if the move will kind of come back again or not. So I actually had a very similar move on pound yen. I like the idea of being long down towards this 181.60 on pound yen. Now, pound yen's not really featured on the currency strength meter either, but I actually got long in and around this level recently, but I got myself out of it for a very small profit. The reason being was because I looked at price coming into this level of support. We can see that it has acted as support recently in here and here, and I saw price come into that double bottom area. So what I did is I went long at the double bottom low there, and my target was here. My stop loss was below the low. As we kind of approached this high in here, I noticed that we got kind of a rejection with that sort of wick. So I exited my position there, and it was a good job I did in the end, because look, prices continued to push to the downside. This was one of those where I thought, could it do it? Could it not do it? It might. I was banking on the probability that it could potentially push higher. If I take a look at this daily time frame, I can see that there's resistance all up at this point. What I was trying to think of was, if the momentum was going to be with the pound and if the yen was going to weaken significantly, I might not get that pullback. And I thought that maybe price will kind of stall here and then break to the upside, which is what I was kind of hoping for there. But that's why we have risk management plans in place. That's why we have the ability to close a trade when we don't think it's going to go well, or there's no problem in closing a position out if you don't think it's going to go the way that you think it's going to go. So now we've broken to the downside here. I'm going to have to wait for my next support point. I quite like I said, down towards this area here. Obviously, we've had a large rally to the upside. We've had a build up of volume here. So if I was to draw that volume profile across that area there, you'd notice that you can see that we have that build up in that volume around here. Okay, most traded level comes in around just under that 181.50. So I'm looking to see, how does price react in here? Does it continue to push lower? Do we get to this next pocket of volume? Does it reject the next pocket of volume, and do we push back up higher? Okay, so that's what I'm kind of looking for there on pound yen, but that was another market that I was really interested in today. Morning, Rye Guy. Morning, Vincent. Hope you're both doing well. Royston, I'm in a Kiwi CAD long, entered at 62.132. Also, Euro Yen short at 158.36. Okay, let's go take a look at those, and then I'll jump back over to some of the markets of interest. So, there's Euro Yen short at. Hopefully you don't mind me displaying this, Royston. Entry price 158.36. Stop loss. I want to assume just above the highs there, so about 159.10 maybe, something like that. Which is a nice position right now. Yeah, I can see price has come in, rejected that level. Good area of resistance as well, 158. Spot 50, we can see that this has acted as resistance on multiple occasions on the higher time frame. Yeah, I like everything about this trade. I think this is very good. I like the idea of being euro short. Euro yen is kind of trading within a bit of a range as well. So that to me is a good opportunity to see price continue to push to the downside there. So yeah, very good. I like that entry there. Very nice. I'd like to see it kind of break into break this 50 MA. Can it then come down towards 156.50? I'd like to see how it reacted in here, because that's a bit of a volume pocket from that recent rally. So just be a little bit aware of that. But yeah, I like that opportunity there. It's quite nice on the hourly chart. You can see price kind of made a low in here, didn't it? And then it breached that low, came and retested it, and then now we're sort of pushing to the downside. So this would have been a really good entry spot in here. Seeing that consolidation, you've got that almost sort of expanding pattern there, and then price has taken off to the downside. You could have looked for maybe a lower low, lower close candle. That would be here. Depending on where you put your stop loss, then if you ATR'd your stop, it might be sort of 159.10. I think it's a good stop loss, to be honest. So you may have just about stayed in that, depending on the volatility in the market. Otherwise, the break and retest can be a good way of entering the market. So yeah, really nice move in there. Let's have a little flick up to the daily chart. Just zoom in a bit. Yeah, even the daily chart gave a nice rejection in and around that area. You can see, let me get rid of this a second. Nice little sort of daily bearish close in there. So that would have been Friday's close, Monday's close, and then today seeing that price kind of trade to the downside. So yeah, I'd be looking at sort of targets around 56.60, early targets, that is. That could be a nice area to sort of take a little bit off the table, depending on your sort of overall plan with this. You might look down towards these lows here, but you might want to take some profit, take some reward for that position, and then look for a continuation to the downside. So that's a nice one, that is. Kiwi CAD as well. Let me have a flick over to Kiwi CAD. Looking at a potential long. Well, you are in a long, sorry. Let me just zoom in a little bit. I like the range here. I like the range play on Kiwi CAD. Entered at 62.13. I think Kiwi CAD entered at 6213. Do you mean 8213, Royston? Sorry. 82. Can't be 8213. Maybe 8321. 821. Where's 8213? No. 8313 maybe. Or unless you are in down here, let me know. If so, again, range lows, you know, I'm very comfortable trading ranges. I think trading ranges are a little bit easier than trading the trend sometimes. You know, you've got two different types of dynamics. You've got sort of your trend-based support and resistance, and then you've got your sort of range-based support and resistance. I think ranges are almost easier to kind of pick out to the eye, because, you know, trend is a little bit more sort of discretionary on your part. You can kind of choose where the area is. to have a little look at. So like for this area, for instance, this is trend-based support and resistance. So the market moves higher, comes back into the previous resistance, turns support, again, previous resistance, turns support in this case, right? And then you've got the dynamic of the range coming through here. So longs from the range low is nice, targets up at the range high, look for shorts at range high, down to range low, as long as the conditions sort of remain the same there. So yeah, I think that's a nice couple of trades there, Royson. I like both of those. Right, guys, short pound yen 83.11 to 83.50. Let's go have a little look at that. Let's pop on this. 83.11 and stop loss is 83.50. Okay, so is that the recent sort of breakdown in the market? Break of that low, maybe? I like the idea of the fact that price has breached this. Well, it hasn't quite breached it yet. That's the one thing I'm waiting for. This is the sort of area that I'm waiting to see broken. Again, it comes down to sort of where the volumes are resting in the market for me in particular. So we're going to have a large buildup of volume up in this area here. Okay, so I need to take that off this screen a second. Large buildup of volume here. That means buyers and sellers are kind of happy to keep price between these levels at the moment. Okay, what I like to see is if I'm looking at volume, how does price react when it tries to breach the lower volume? Does it move quickly through that level or does it stall? I think if you find price stalling in here at the moment, we could see pound yen continue to try and push back to the upside here. Okay, so for me, actually a long's not quite off the table here yet for pound yen. I like the idea of it kind of sitting within this sort of volume in here. You know, if it breaches through volume, my theory is that it's going to go and explore another area of volume that we've seen being built up in the market. That's why I said if we kind of trade below this level here, I think that could lead to a move down to that next volume area, which is down towards this point, which is that sort of 181 up to sort of 181.60, 181.70. So I quite like the idea of price doing that. If price does find support here, okay, so let's have a little look at our 5-minute time frame. You know, what I'd be looking for here is how aggressive are buyers are getting in at this point, and can it give us an opportunity? So what I'd be looking for now is if price comes up, comes back in, do we see buyers stepping again? Do we make a new higher high, or do we kind of form some kind of reversal pattern here? That could lead to that type of move coming off. You know, you got good risk reward here as well. You know, if I was to kind of look, just to say, you know, there's a potential for a long here, targets could be at least 3 to 1 and any kind of move like that. That's not kind of saying that that this move won't come off. Obviously I could be wrong as well. I would just be a little bit more comfortable short in pound yen if we were below this level. Okay, if we took out that level first, close below. So let's say the next 40 minutes we get a bearish close here. So let's say this candlestick there becomes bearish, it closes below. I would be much more comfortable then going, okay, on the pullback of the next sort of hourly candle, if we were to get one, I'm going to look to get short down towards that area of support down through there. So yeah, I do quite like that. I want to see how this hourly closes first. Can we breach, and can sellers become active below 82.84? That's what I'd like to see. Anything below that, I think is a good sort of area, because at the moment we're probably seeing, like I said, the battle between buyers and sellers. Buyers are going to be looking to get in towards the lows. Sellers are going to be looking to get in at the highs, right? It's how aggressive are buyers getting in at this point in here, and are the sellers willing to give up? Okay, because that's what will generate that move back up to the upside. Are sellers not interested in selling beyond this low? If they're not interested, then we'll see price push back up towards 184. If they are, and the whole price here, then again it becomes that battle between buyers and sellers, and the buyers might give up, and then that could then lead to that sort of push to the downside, if that makes sense anyway. So keep an eye on that one. But yeah, I wouldn't kind of rule out a potential long coming in at that sort of 182.83 area, especially because it is that sort of edge of volume there. Vincent, you go for short. Let's have a little look at Aussie US dollar then. Aussie US dollar. I was short Aussie US dollar last week. I ended up going short in here. Stop loss was above the swing high. Overall target was down towards this 66.70 area. Obviously, I got out before the data dropped, so I got out a little bit before that. It was around about a 2-to-1. I ended up getting out of this particular move. But yeah, I liked the Aussie US dollar downside at the time. Again, I like to kind of build in sort of what is the higher time frame doing, and is there an opportunity to see it come into an area of support. So from a weekly point of view, I noticed that we had consolidation. We've then breached consolidation. We've had a week of pullback. We've tested the previous highs. We've then rallied. So if I was to go put this on a daily chart right now, what I would see is consolidation, bit of trend coming in, move up to that resistance level. So if I just go back down to that daily time frame there, sorry, my Apple Watch going off, you can see that in a bit more detail, right? So you've got consolidation in here, prices then breach consolidation, and then this goes into my theory of you've got trend support and resistance. Okay, so when you've got a previous resistance level, that can come support. The reason that is because you got to think, for the market to move down anyway, sellers have got to be aggressive, right? Sellers have got to beat buyers, and sellers have got to take over into the market. If price gets above that resistance zone, they're panicking now. They know that they're wrong, okay? So they're going to want to get out at the best possible place for them, and that is at break even. So that's why a lot of the times you'll see buying coming in back in at an area which was once resistance, and that's why we call it resistance turned into support, because you've got to think of how buyers and sellers are looking at this. A seller will get the opportunity to get out at break even. That could cause a surge in sort of buyers in the buyer's market, which could then lead to a move to the upside. So short story over, you've got this kind of momentum here, haven't you? You've got that pullback. Where does it come back to? This area here. We see that stalling in price. We then get an aggressive move to the upside, and then we're pulling back. Where have we pulled back to? We pull back into that previous structure area there on the Australian dollar versus the US dollar. That's why I liked the short, because this area to me made the most sense for price to come and get back into. Okay, so if I just kind of expand that up on a daily chart. Okay, the reason why I targeted a little bit lower for my overall trade, which I got out of anyway, was because of this area here. And again, then I open my mind up and think, well, what would be where would the volumes be? Essentially, we'd have big volume here, a little bit of volume coming up through those areas there. So we're at the point where we're back within this volume zone here, and the market's just kind of staying within that at the moment. I think if you want to get short AU at the moment, you want to be short if we breach 66.90, 66.80. If we get below that lower gain and sellers get involved, that's the good time. Or you want to be looking at your resistance points, which are a little bit higher up. Getting short AU right now, for me, is risky, because I'm not looking at support turned resistance anymore. I'm looking at a wall of support through here. Okay, so if I was to get short, let's say now, where am I putting my stop loss? Well, I'm putting my stop loss above this high, or this high. Where's my stop loss go? My take profit, my safest take profit is that low. Look at your risk reward ratio. It's not good. So let's say you like the resistance instead. At least at that point, back down to those lows there, you've got a good risk reward ratio. So if it was to go in your favor, then you're making that sort of up to be a good position to kind of get into. The worst thing you want is you get into a position, you go, why have I done that? You know, I'm just getting sucked into the market here. You want to have clear reasons of getting involved. Like, I got into Aussie US dollar because we were pulling back to that level. I realized that on a daily time frame, it was in its retracement phase. I noticed this area of resistance. Price came into that resistance. It's set up with my strategy. I entered short. I took profit at a sensible level. Okay, very similar to what I'm looking at a euro pound at the moment. If I go to the weekly time frame, why am I getting involved with euro pound? Well, euro is weak. Pound is getting a bit stronger. I believe fundamentally the pound could continue to get stronger. I may be wrong. Okay, this may go wrong, but from my sort of breakdown point of view, I've got bearish weekly candle, bearish weekly candle. Where is the support? The support's down here. If we go down to the daily, I can see we're making daily bearish candlesticks at the moment. If I go to the 4-hour time frame, we're making lower lows and lower highs. Now, like I said, I might be wrong. Price might shoot up to the upside, but at least I've got that in place so that I'm, you know, hopefully right more than I am wrong in the market. And I've got the opportunity to look at the break and retest here. Okay, so another thing you can look at, if you're not in euro pound, or if you want to add in, there also is the potential break and retest here. What I'd be watching for at this point is the lower low, lower close on the hourly chart. Now you can see prices revisited this area recently. We haven't had one hourly lower low, lower close yet. Okay, so I need to wait. If price comes into this level, let's say the 50 MA, comes in, rejects it, we get a pin candle, the next candle then gives a lower low, lower close on the body, then that could be the signal that the change of trend is formed on a lower time frame, and that could be the move that you're looking for. So hopefully that makes sense from those two breakdowns there. Like I said, I did like euro as well. Euro, a little bit more of a range-based potential trade that formed here. We've obviously had a big dip down to support, which is always an area that you've got to be wary of. If you're looking at it from a 4-hour perspective, there is a little sort of trading range that has developed here between sort of 1.0960 and that 1.09. Again, if you're looking at euro dollar, let's say euro dollar is the market you want to trade, you've got resistance, support, resistance here, support here. If price finds resistance, it could come to support, vice versa. Support could head back to resistance. What you don't want to see is price take out 1.1. If price takes out 1.1, you're pretty much screwed on your short there, and price is more than likely to head back to 1.1100. So I try and think of it as, where's the sort of, what condition is the market in? Also, why do I want to get in this? What's the condition the market is in? Where's the best place that I know other traders will be thinking about getting involved? And that's going to give you sort of best opportunities. Right, guy, thanks a lot. You're welcome. Ifran, natural gas is trending now beautifully to the upside. Missed the entry there yesterday, and then the train left. I haven't actually looked at natural gas since we shorted it. So have I missed the train as well? Probably. Okay. So we came pretty close to where we thought it was going to come to. We missed it by I'm going to say pretty close. It's probably going to be a long way now. So yeah, we missed it by a little bit. This was the area we quite liked down at this 2 sort of area down through here for longs. Have we missed the boat? There's a good potential to argue that, isn't there? That is a big move, isn't it? The only thing I can think of is you've got maybe an opportunity to get in towards that high. So if you were to kind of look at your 4-hour, maybe your 1 hour, because what I really liked about this was when it got trending, the sort of touches on the 50 MA were really good. You can see on the upside as well, kind of the touches on the 50 MA could have provided you with some opportunity. Let's go to an hourly, because I remember getting short on this a few times just on the break below the 50 MA, and you've got all those opportunities there. So maybe if you're looking at this and you're thinking it's gone without me, you might be right. Or the only thing you can do is kind of set up your support, See if price can come back to the support. I mean, that was a beautiful move, wasn't it? Comes back into support. You can see along the way you get a lot of sort of double bottom patterns coming in before price continues to kind of push back to the upside there. So yeah, I've missed out on this one as well, to be honest. I haven't been keeping an eye on natural gas. But the interesting thing about natural gas is that what if you breach these highs? You know, what if you breach the 3.4s? Then, you know, there is opportunity to see price move way higher. So there could be a good opportunity there if runs still. So just keep an eye on it day to day. I like to keep sort of a watch list in terms of the dailies. You know, if I feel like there's a market that I want to watch, I'll then kind of sort of understand that's the market I'm watching. How does the daily close? So I'll go to it at the close of play each day, look at how it's closed. Can I get an opportunity from that? But I haven't actually looked at this in a while. So let's have a quick look over to oil. Yeah, oil's still a little bit low. 10 years, I'm finding a bit of resistance towards that 4.1 at the minute. So yeah, we'll wait and see. We might get a little bit of a dollar dip, considering we're still stuck at this sort of 102 area in here. So 102.50s are a little bit of a sticking point for the dollar at the minute. So yeah, I'll be interested to see, can the dollar develop from this point? I did like the idea of dollar yen back at this area here. It's 143.60. Again, just kind of going from the weekly time frame. We found support at that sort of 141. Very strong bullish rejection last week. We're only on Tuesday and we've had a couple of days of pullback. So, I mean, look at that daily. I'm going to see how the daily closes on dollar yen, because to me, strong push. Look at the sort of range on these daily candlesticks, very low in range. You know, I like to see that if I'm going to look for potential opportunities on a reversal, specifically because sellers aren't getting aggressive. Okay, look at the buy momentum that's come into this market. Look at the selling aggression. It's not as strong as the previous few days. So I like to look at the ranges of the candles and see, can that give us an opportunity here? Like if you look, very strong selling, bit of a pullback, 2 days of just nothing, just no real aggression from the buyers. Sellers take over again, very shallow candlesticks, big move. Okay, push back up, shallow candlestick, big move, shallow candlestick, big move. So you can kind of see that it can give you a little bit of sort of an idea that maybe there could be a move to the upside on a 4-hour time frame. You know, I'm looking at it this, you know, this sort of zone in here. Can that be the thing that kind of projects price higher? Now, I was looking at a potential entry on this hourly candlestick here, but I'm going to wait. Like I said, I think I'm going to see how that daily closes. If I get a sort of decent rejection on the daily, then it could lead to something. But 102.50 on the dollar index at the moment is a problem, for us. So we'll have to wait and see how that does kind of play out in there. Vincent, I got stopped out at break even on dollar yen long at 143.66. Yeah, price is kind of around there now, isn't it? Well, if you got stopped out at break even, then that's a win to me. You can always look at another position. Okay, if it sets up again, don't just get in because you want to get in again. Make sure that it's for the right reasons. Ifran, missed that double bottom yesterday. Yeah, natural gas. Royston, seasonally nat gas isn't the best for January. I've been in this since it bottomed and agree with you, John. I love the trending. Oh, nice. Yeah, I haven't looked at the, like I said, I haven't really kept up with the seasonals on natural gas. Let's see. We've got equity clock to go and look at, haven't we? Equity clock. Let's have a quick look. And nat gas futures. Yeah, you can see usually it kind of tops out in January, doesn't it? We were kind of looking for that December bearishness, and I remember actually when we talked about it, and the reason why we looked at it to come down towards that sort of 2 levels because of this move here, wasn't it? I think we were looking to see if it bottomed out towards February and March that we'd look for the long. So Yeah, obviously seasonals have gone without us. There's probably is some kind of fundamental driver behind that at the moment, whether it be sort of geopolitical or whether I haven't kind of kept up with any kind of sort of natural gas fundamentals at the moment. So yeah, probably some catalyst has driven that market there. But if it continues to go on that bull run, you're looking more towards the end of May, start of June for that bull run to come to an end. So this could trend for a good while. Natural gas. So yeah, I think definitely something to keep an eye on. Definitely. Rogo, I hope the dollar yen goes all the way down since there is a correlation between the yen pair and the pound yen short. Yeah, of course, you'd like to see that. Yeah. I, on the other hand, just want to see euro go short or pound strengthen, considering looking at sort of that euro pound continuation to the downside there. But we'll see. We'll see how that one kind of pans out, whether it pans out well or not. We'll see how the market can be sort of correlated. Bitcoin's quite interesting, actually. I was watching Bitcoin. We've come up into that weekly level of resistance now, and I wondered if we would get a little bit of a sharp reaction here. Bitcoin's going on a run at the minute, so this could be a sort of trending chart to watch if you are, and you can trade the CFD, obviously, so you don't have to have any actual exposure to the cryptocurrency market if that's something that you're not interested in. But like if we get the strong bullish weekly close here, we could see a break above that sort of 48,000 into that 50,000 maybe, and then above that. So I think it's going to be an interesting year for cryptocurrency. I like the bullishness. I kind of wish I got long back down at 41k. That would have been an interesting place to get long because of all these sort of supporting areas. And we're in this area at the moment, so I'll see, can price pull back maybe towards 44, and we'll have a little look at that. But it's on my radar to have a little look at it. So yeah, I'll keep this on my watch list and see if we can have a little flurry maybe on a Bitcoin move. Vincent, can you take a look at dollar CAD? Yeah, absolutely. Dollar CAD, quite liked dollar CAD longs this week. I haven't really seen much out of the market so far. Obviously, it's only been sort of 2 days, hasn't it? So I guess my range would have changed slightly now. This was the sort of range I was looking at before. We're above the 50 MA on the 4 hour. I like the fact that we're in a big range, right? So weekly we're on a massive range. So like I said before, understand the market condition that you're in. So we're in a big trading range. So to me, you want to be, or personally, I'm looking for longs towards the lows, getting out towards the highs there. Daily chart, we've consolidated. So, it's not really giving me a point of interest at the moment. The only thing I could say is that maybe I should have monitored sort of an ascending. You've got this kind of pattern coming here, which may signal a sort of bit of a bearish move. I will keep an eye on this. I think a break above 134, you can look for the break and retest opportunity. If we don't break that, maybe look towards 133 at the moment. So a bit of a trading range. Not really a lot going on with it. I like the idea of being long, but again, it's kind of like, where's the practical place to do that? And where's the safest place? Because I don't want to be put in risk here. Then my stop loss has got to be there or there. And obviously, these are places of support. So I'd want to get long from support, which is down towards 133. So keep an eye on that one. What other data have we got coming up for the week? Like I said, we've got, so Wednesday is really the sort of time it kicks off. We've got Aussie CPI, which is meant to come down from 4.9% to 4.4. Bank of England Governor Bailey speaking tomorrow is going to be an interesting one. Obviously, I'm in euro pound short, so I want Bailey to be a little bit more hawkish in tone, maybe even consider, being a bit more sort of aggressive in terms of keeping rates at a higher pace for longer, and not really talk about cuts he starts talking about cuts, then the pound could weaken a little bit. So I don't really want to talk. I don't really want that talk. I saw it over on the Fed Watch tool. Let me see if I can bring that up as well. Fed Watch tool. The percentage for the percentage for the chance of 3 rate cuts this year, have fallen significantly. So they're now pricing in 2 cuts or less. So there's a sort of chance here that the Fed might not even cut rates this year, which is definitely a possibility. I think that we should, keep within the narrative. Ifran John, can you please explain the lower low and lower close for an entry? I just want to make sure that I understood it correctly. Yeah, absolutely. So it's a 2 time frame strategy. Okay, so that's the way I like to think of it. So let's say you only have time to look at weekly charts and point out weekly levels of support and resistance. Then you're going to use weekly levels with a daily entry. Okay. So essentially a lower low, lower close. So let's say lower low, lower close. Let's say you've come into an area of what you call resistance. And let's say it's the 4-hour resistance level. Okay. And the market has been trending up towards that point. Okay. You get a little bit of a move in. Let's say these are the wicks in there. The lower low, lower close is a close below the previous candle. Okay, so let's say that this was a wick and there was only a sort of short wick to the downside there. If the next candle closes below that candlestick, okay, that's what I would call the lower low, lower close. But I'll be looking at 4-hour resistance, okay, and I'll be looking at a 1-hour chart, okay. So that would be the 1 hour. Once you get the lower low, lower close, you can look at a sell stop entry below that low. So the way this would work if it was a higher high, higher close, is if you had your higher time frame support, let's just say here, price comes into that, okay, and then you get a higher high, higher close on the lower time frame, and you can look for an opportunity like that. Hopefully that makes sense. I'll show you a couple of examples here. So Aussie US dollar was a perfect one for that, really, because that's how I entered short in here. So I've got a 4-hour resistance zone, okay, hourly chart came in, and you can see here, if I just zoom right in, when we're in that zone, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So you've got candle high, candle low, and the next candle creates the lower low, lower close. Okay, so what I did in this situation was I went short in at that candlestick close. I was a little bit late to this one, so I didn't end up getting into like 67.47, but just in theory, you go short in there. Now, it depending on how aggressive you want to be, stop loss can be that I prefer it to go above the 4-hour, the higher time frame sort of resistance. And then you look to target your next sort of levels of support and resistance, in my opinion. I got out for a 2-to-1, but that could be down to those lows there, which is the safest place to get out, essentially. So very similar to what's going on Euro Pound as well. So we'll just go on Euro Pound here. So for me, this was my 4-hour level of resistance. Okay. I got in a little bit aggressive here. I just kind of went short on the retest. But if I was looking at this and I was saying, I'm going to get short, prices come into that level there. If you go to the hourly chart, this is where the lower close comes in. So you can see here, so you'd be short here. Okay, you'd be short there, stops above the highs. What I tend to like to do, if you want to kind of use a sort of relative or a dynamic support and resistance for your stop loss, I actually just like to sometimes use the 200 moving average as my stop loss. Okay, so in this current position now, your stop loss could be reduced to sort of 20 pips there. Okay, so it's dynamic, it's going with price. So yeah, that could be one. Obviously, you're looking at this here, so you've got the 4-hour resistance again. do we get an hourly lower low, lower close? That could be a reason for entry. Does that make sense? And if you had like an option, so let's go back to dollar CAD. Let's say you like dollar CAD, you liked the range on dollar CAD. You identified that it was a weekly range of support and resistance. Okay, so you've seen that the alert's gone off. You're monitoring it on a day-to-day basis. You're looking for the higher high, higher close candlestick, and that happens here. Okay, so on the 28th of December, this market closes below that previous candlestick high. Okay, and you could go, right, that for me is good enough. I'm going to go long on the close of play. Stop loss can go below the swing low there. Again, this is a daily chart, so you could probably get away with a bit of a tighter stop loss. And then your target's going to be, essentially these previous highs that come into the market, or that high there. Like I said, if you on a daily chart, you can probably get away with a little bit of a tighter stop loss. So you can look at something like that. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Obviously, that's going to have effects in either way on what kind of time frame you trade, because I've said that we've come into the resistance here. We don't get a lower low, lower close until that candlestick there. So, are you going to wait in this trade for how many days is that to hit target? That is 35 days. Okay, so this is where you've got to kind of look into it and go, okay, well, if the daily is creating it, that's why I kind of step down the lower time frames. I don't really like holding a trade for 35 days. You've got to think of the swap charges that you could occur in that kind of period as well. If it benefits you, then great. But if it doesn't benefit you, then that's going to be harsh. But that's the way I like to look at it from time to time. Other times, I'll just look for a change of trend on a lower time frame. Just depends what I'm kind of trying to get out the market. So with pound yen, for instance, the reason why I was on that sort of 15-minute time frame was because it was a short trade that I was looking for. I was looking for a move back up into 183.69. Daily resistance level. If I was looking at this for a daily resistance, I'd go and look for a 4-hour lower low, lower close to get short, which is this candlestick here on the 7th of January. So you'd be looking at it like that. And then target where you want to target. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. But like I said, this is an hourly sort of support point. So again, you can drop to a 30-minute, look for a higher high, higher close candlestick, or look for a sort of opportunity on a lower time frame. Okay. All right then, guys, we're running about 48 minutes now. I'm going to call it quits there. Thank you to everyone that's joined me again. Really appreciate all your comments and questions. Just give you all a bit of a shout out here. Royston, Ifran, Vincent, Rye Guy, another Vincent, and who else? I think that's it. So thank you all for joining me as usual. Thank you for your comments and questions. Really appreciate it. Thank you for sharing your trades with me. Thank you for letting me go through those as well. I appreciate that as well. So yeah, keep an eye on the yen. It could be one that continues to weaken. I'll see you on Thursday. We'll see how the markets have developed, and I will speak to you on Thursday. Cheers, guys.